True peace, Kens. October 1st is when you need a real ID. Reminds DHS this October the 1st. Peep the slang. The U.S. federal government can appear so clueless in its enormity, but it really knows its citizens. The biggest ever change in how individual Americans officially, biometrically identify themselves is coming October the 1st. And the feds seem ready to remind everyone, perhaps monthly. October the 1st is when anyone wanted to travel domestically through federally regulated airports or to enter federal facilities and nuclear power plants need to be carrying a real ID compliant driver's license, or similar card. The latest nudge was just posted by the Department of Homeland Security 8 months ahead of the October the 1st deadline. Anyone trying to access those installations without their state's real ID compliant identification card or Fed approved alternative after September the 30th will be turned away. One can assume that people with business at a nuclear plant will have followed these developments, but the hundreds of millions of members of the general public. Peep the slang. A real ID card is just a document that meets federal anti-counterfeiting standards created in the wake of 9/11. The new rules, enforceable beginning October 1st, make the card harder to forge, increases security at card-making factories, and, of course, mandate presenting ones to access sensitive facilities. Peep the slang, man. It does not replace a passport when traveling overseas, including voyages on cruise ships, visiting foreign ports. This is true before, on, or after October the 1st, when real ID enforcement begins. Second, setting aside people who will somehow miss news of the deadline, it takes 10 weeks to get a new driver license. An embarrassing number of U.S. residents, without a doubt, will be operating under a fully formed and utterly unhinged conspiracy theory about the real ID by October the 1st. Something about chemtrails is a good bet. Regardless, some disruption is expected after 12 a.m. October the 1st. In a related event, Condé Nast the Traveler met the new year telling its Money Eye readers how to avoid subjecting themselves to face scanners and other biometric systems while traversing airports. The editors point out the 4 areas most likely to involve biometric readers and given the presumption that wealth and intelligence are at least casually related. The list is disconcertingly obvious. Travelers' best advice: notify a customs and border protection officer or an airline, airport, or cruise line representative in order to seek an alternative means of verifying one's identity. Prudent planners will arrange their schedules so that they are nowhere near commercial airport or federal courthouse October the 1st or during October, maybe through the fall. Peep the same, man.